The Israeli Defense Forces confirmed that Iranian missiles struck U.S. airbases in Iraq. The attacks, a significant escalation in regional tensions, were met with immediate concern. Despite the scale of the assault, the IDF reported no major damage. This assessment, while preliminary, suggested a deliberate attempt to send a message without triggering an all-out war. The world watched nervously, waiting to see how the United States would respond. The situation remained fluid, with experts cautioning against premature conclusions. The full extent of the damage was yet to be determined. Moreover, the potential for casualties, both military and civilian, could not be discounted. The coming hours and days would be critical in determining the trajectory of the crisis. The attacks marked a dangerous escalation in the already volatile Middle East. They underscored the fragility of peace and the ever-present risk of miscalculation. The world held its breath, hoping for restraint and a de-escalation of hostilities. On January 8, 2020, Iran launched over a dozen ballistic missiles. These missiles targeted 2 Iraqi military bases known to house U.S. troops. The bases, Al-Assad Air Base west of Baghdad and another facility in Erbil, were strategically chosen. The attacks were a direct response to the U.S. assassination of Iranian General Qassem Soleimani. The timing of the attacks, coming days after Soleimani's death, was significant. It suggested a calculated retaliation, carefully planned and executed. The choice of targets, both housing U.S. personnel, sent an unambiguous message. Iran was willing to strike at the heart of American power in the region. The use of ballistic missiles capable of carrying significant payloads was a further escalation. These weapons, while not as accurate as some, had the potential to inflict significant damage. The fact that no major damage was reported suggested a possible intention to avoid mass casualties. The Iranian missile attacks cannot be viewed in isolation. They were a direct consequence of the U.S. assassination of General Qassem Soleimani. Soleimani, the commander of the Quds Force, was a powerful and revered figure in Iran. His death sent shockwaves through the Islamic Republic, sparking outrage and vows of revenge. The U.S. justified the assassination as a necessary act of self-defense. They claimed Soleimani was planning imminent attacks on U.S. interests. However, the evidence presented was widely disputed, raising questions about the legality and wisdom of the strike. The assassination, far from deterring further attacks, had the opposite effect. It ignited a powder keg in the region, leading to the missile strikes. Soleimani's death had profound implications for Iranian domestic politics. It unified the country against a common enemy, strengthening the hand of hardliners. The regime, under immense pressure to respond forcefully, felt compelled to retaliate. The missile attacks, while a measured response, were a clear signal that Iran would not be intimidated. Section 4. A World on Edge: International Reactions. The Iranian missile attacks were met with a mixture of condemnation and calls for restraint. World leaders, fearing a wider conflagration, urged both sides to step back from the brink. The United Nations Secretary-General called for an immediate de-escalation of tensions. European leaders, caught between their alliance with the U.S. and their commitment to diplomacy, struggled to find a coherent response. Some condemned the Iranian attacks, while others emphasized the need for dialogue and a return to the negotiating table. The crisis highlighted the divisions within the European Union and its limited ability to influence events in the Middle East. The attacks also underscored the volatility of the Middle East. The region, already grappling with multiple conflicts and proxy wars, faced the specter of another major war. The potential for miscalculation and unintended escalation was high, raising fears of a wider regional conflict. Section 5. The Precarious Balance: Historical U.S.-Iran Tensions. The U.S.-Iran relationship has been characterized by mistrust and hostility for decades. The 1953 coup cast a long shadow over the relationship. The 1979 Islamic Revolution and the hostage crisis deepened the divide. The Iran-Iraq War added another layer of complexity. Iran's nuclear program became a major point of contention in the 21st century. The 2015 nuclear deal offered a glimmer of hope. The Trump administration's withdrawal in 2018 reignited tensions. The historical context is crucial for understanding the current situation. Section 6. Looking ahead: Uncertainty and Potential Consequences. The immediate aftermath of the Iranian missile attacks was marked by uncertainty. The world watched and waited, hoping for a de-escalation of tensions. However, the situation remained volatile. with the potential for further conflict looming large. The risk of miscalculation or unintended escalation was high, and the international community braced for the possibility of further violence in the region. The attacks had the potential to reshape the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. Iran, emboldened by its response, might be tempted to adopt a more assertive posture in the region. The US, facing pressure to reassert its dominance, could be drawn into a wider conflict. The crisis underscored the fragility of peace and the need for diplomacy and dialogue. The international community had a crucial role to play in preventing further escalation. Diplomacy, however difficult, remained the only viable path to a peaceful resolution. The world could ill afford another major conflict in the Middle East.